Yeah, just give me a few minutes, allow my computer to come up. I'm waiting for YouTube and then I'll start the recording. Should be up in a few seconds. All right. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Minutes. Allow my computer to come up. I'm waiting for YouTube and then I'll start the recording. Should be up in a few seconds. I'm getting a little feedback from YouTube, so just trying to mute YouTube. My computer is very slow. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again to another Let's Talk Health program with Leap to Health Ministry. As you know, if you have been joining us for the last 5 years, we have been doing this nonstop, and God has been good to us. We have been able to carry health presentations on many different health-related topics. We praise God for that ability, as well as for the technology that He has blessed us with. We praise Him for the support we have been getting over the past couple of years. So thank you. We've got some faithful persons who started out with us when we started the ministry, as well as persons who joined after we started, and they continue to support us. Welcome and thank you so much. And Brother Shard, I know I've been MIA for a while now, and you have kept the fort going. We appreciate it. Thank you so very much. And we have our presenter who is on this evening, ready and raring to go. We'll be looking at quite an interesting topic this evening, this afternoon, that is, one that is quite prevalent. We know of so many persons who are suffering from, have gotten a stroke. Some have recovered, some have died. I have a friend and he said his father sustained 4 strokes, 4. And I think he died with the 4th one. It's not just for older people who are now getting strokes, but even younger people as well. So we hope to bring the awareness this evening and then talk maybe about the prevention as well. I don't know fully what our presenter will be speaking on, but when he comes on, he'll introduce himself, share a little bit about his background, and then get into the topic. We're going to pray to begin our meeting. Let's pray. Gracious Father in heaven, we thank you for this opportunity of coming together once more on this platform. We thank you for Leap to Health Ministry and for the blessing that it has been to so many people. We thank you for the presenter this afternoon, Brother Linton, who is here to share the knowledge that you have given to him. I pray, mighty God, that you'll be present with us, that you'll open our hearts and may we be receptive to what we're going to be learning, and may it be life-changing and transformational. Into your hands we commit all things. For Christ's sake we pray. Amen. So my brother, I know you're ready and raring to go. I appreciate you being able to join us this afternoon.
An intricate organ that coordinates thoughts,
at this point in time,
movement, and memory.
Thank you, Sister Angela. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you,
sends instructions throughout the body,
followers. Thank you,
and allows for learning and decision making.
Into your home,
protected
and
within
I thank
the
you
skull.
for
This powerhouse
you
runs
coming
non-stop,
into my home. Is my
shaping
home.
who we
My name is
are
Courtney
and how we
Linton.
experience the
I
world.
have been doing this from 2009. I'm a lifestyle engineer. I call myself a lifestyle engineer because our lives are affected by different aspects. For example, how we think is affecting our health. What we do, right? And so, as an engineer, a lifestyle engineer, I look at the different aspects of our lives that affect our health. And so I coined the word lifestyle engineer. I've been trained by Mayman Wilson. I've been trained by the Northeastern Conference. I've been trained by Pastor Kuku. And I've been, as I mentioned, I've been practicing it. I'm my first veggie pig, if you want to say that, right? I am the first lab rat, if you want to say that. And so because of my parents, the sickness that my parents had, both are passed. And because of their sickness, and I have learned that if I continue what they were doing, then the habits that if I follow their habits, then I would have the same sickness. So I had to make a change, because looking at health is expensive when you lose it. Prevention is cheaper and less expensive, right? So thank you for joining us. We're going to look at a very interesting topic.
It's the body's central command.
Let's dive into it. So, question to you. What is the leading cause of death in Jamaica? A few years ago, I was going back to Jamaica and I researched what was the leading cause of death. Why I'm thinking about Jamaica, talking about Jamaica today, because that's where I was born, right? And so I'm going to touch Jamaica, and it's not unique. What I'm going to talk about is not unique to Jamaica. Anywhere you are, it will affect you, right? And so the question is asked, what is the leading cause of death in Jamaica? And the leading cause of death in Jamaica, it's not motor vehicle accident. It's not crime. It's not heart disease like heart disease in the United States. It is stroke. Stroke is the number one cause of death in Jamaica at this moment. I would like to share 3 experiences. I have many more experience. I set this up so that it could play by itself, but it's not playing by itself. So I have to read it, right? I'm going to read 3 experiences that I'm personally was a part of. During the height of COVID, I was called to my church sister apartment. She was showing signs of a stroke. I grabbed my cayenne pepper and rushed over. She had symptoms since the night before, but refused to call for help. We finally convinced her to call an ambulance. Despite years of managing high blood pressure with medication, she was diagnosed with a stroke and lost movement on her left side. She had to move in with her son and sell her apartment. It made me wonder, could a different lifestyle have changed the outcome?
During the height of COVID,
my downstairs neighbor wife went to work as usual, but couldn't reach him all day. When she got home around 5 p.m., she found him slumped over the stove. Half his paramedics arrived and diagnosed a massive stroke. Half his brain and skull had to be removed. He was diabetic and faithfully took his medication. Yet, it wasn't enough to prevent this. No, his wife balanced full-time caregiving with her job. It's heartbreaking to wonder, could a lifestyle change have changed their fate?
my downstairs neighbor's wife went to work.
My brother-in-law, wife, noticed he hadn't returned from the bathroom. When she went to check, she found him slumped over the sink. He was responsive at first, though his left side was numb. Things worsened rapidly. He had to be airlifted and undergo emergency surgery to remove part of his skull to relieve swelling. Despite their efforts, he passed away from a massive brain bleed. He was just 68 years old, diabetic for over 2 decades, and faithfully on medication. Still, it raises the question, could a different lifestyle have altered his outcome? And so
my brother-in-law's wife noticed he
just
hadn't
wanted to
returned from
share those experiences. There are many more, and I'm sure you can also share your experience. Now, how many Jamaicans die of stroke each year? How many Jamaicans die of stroke each year? These are A, B, C, and D. Please put it in the chat. A, B, C, or D. Was it 30,000? And research shows the same amount of persons died each year. So if you want, you can put it in the chat. Is it A, 30,000, B, 3,000, B, 300, C, 3,000, and D, 300,000? Sister Josette, yes, 3,000 of our brothers and sisters will die this year in Jamaica by stroke. Can you imagine that? And there is not a pandemic about it, right? There is not a pandemic about it. Stroke is the leading cause of death in Jamaica, with about 10,000 people suffer from it annually. 10,000 of our brothers and sisters. It's a serious health concern, and experts emphasize the importance of lifestyle changes and early intervention to reduce the risk. Prevention. And I'm with Sister Angela. Please share the link. The link is in the chat. Copy and paste it with many of your groups that you are part of. Who knows? That person you invite might be the one that you save from stroke. Now, warning. This is for educational purpose only. Please consult your holistic healthcare provider before making any lifestyle changes. Please note that this exchange is to use education to medicate you with medication. So instead of medicine, you're going to be medicate with education today, because knowledge, the lack of knowledge, can kill you. Hosea 4:6 says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, right? And so that's a principle. If you don't receive the correct knowledge, you might end up dying because you did not get the correct knowledge, right? Who is affected more, male or female? It says the same. The research in Jamaica shows that it's the same, but there are more women dying from stroke than men because of the care, the aftercare, right? Historically, stroke tends to affect men slightly more than women. However, women often experience more severe outcomes due to factors like age, at onset, and hormonal influence. Yes. You know, I was talking to a young lady this morning, and I was telling her that because of stress, and if you're going through menopause, because of stress, you will have more symptoms, because the same area, which is above the kidney, they produce estrogen. Because during menopause, you don't need as much estrogen as you would need if you're going through your cycle. You would use less. But because we are in a stressful environment, we have the kids, we have the husband, we have all these. And so when you're stressed, the body stop making estrogen and start making cortisol. And so you will have more symptoms in that case. And so hormonal influence. also help to affect the care of you ladies. What are the main risk factors in Jamaica for stroke? Remember, we're looking in Jamaica, right? Is it hypertension? Is it diabetes? Is it smoking? Is it all of the above? Put it in the chat. Is it A, B, C, or D? And on YouTube, put it in the chat in YouTube. I know that Sister Angela will be checking the chat in YouTube. So please, is it A, hypertension? Is it D, diabetes? Is it C, smoking? Is it D, all of the above? I see Sister Angela, Sister Lisa, and Sister Josette is saying A, B. No, it's D. So it's D, all of the above. In Jamaica, the top 3 risk factors for stroke are uncontrollable hypertension, diabetes, and smoking. These are all modifiable factors, meaning that addressing them can significantly reduce stroke risk just by adjusting. All of these are lifestyle. All of these are habits. Other contributing factors include poor diet, lack of exercise, and delay medical intervention. You know, as Jamaicans, we tend to say, no, man, that pain soon go away. Yes, man, that hand hurting, that soon go, no, that headache, it soon go away. As men, we do that, right? And then you hear that we have a heart attack or a stroke. Who does stroke affect? Who does stroke affect? That's the question. Interestingly, stroke are increasingly affecting younger individuals. Did you know that? Particularly those in their 30s. Can you imagine that? At 30 and 40 years old, you have the risk of having a stroke, or you have the potential of having a stroke. Oh, wow. This shift highlights the growing need for early prevention and awareness. So we need training. We need the information so that we can prevent that. So introduction, we're going to talk about stroke. We've been talking about stroke. We will be also looking at, is the fruit of prevention? Is the fruit of prevention? And take this moment to share the link. Sister Angela, my tech support, Sister Angela, will reshare the link at the bottom of the chat, the YouTube link, and go ahead and share it, because as I mentioned, the life that you invite here today might be the life that you save. Let's say our word of prayer to continue. Loving God and our Father, we thank you. As I speak through me, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. And so let's look at some strokes. Let's look at strokes, right? There are some strokes. We will be looking at stroke. We know that. In all disease, what should we know first? There's a basic principle, right? I shared yesterday that in Jamaica, when it rains, the water sometimes leaks through the roof, and there's a mark on the roof because of the water stain. And then my dad would get a paint and paint over that spot. Now, when it rains again, guess what? That water spot enlarge and it returns. And so what my dad had to do was get a ladder, go on the roof, find the location where the leak was, get that shiny tar-looking thing, tear it off, and put it at the location that is leaking. And then he came in, painted, and there were no more water stain. And so what am I saying? We need to find the cause. What is the cause of stroke, right? We need to look at that. And these principles that we receive on your screen, this is from the book, Ministry of Healing, page 234, paragraph 1, and it says, disease never comes without a cause. I can't say Stroke never comes without a cause. I can say hypertension never comes without a cause. The way is prepared. That means we prepare the way for stroke, we prepare the way for hypertension and most of the chronic diseases that we have. And disease invited. So we prepare the way and say, come disease, come disease, come sit here beside me, by disregard to the laws of health. And so there are laws that governs this body. If you don't drink any water, guess what? You will eventually die. You have constipation first, perhaps, and you eventually die. If you don't get vitamin D from the sun, eventually you might lose your mind. If you don't get enough sleep, after a while you go crazy, right? And so there are certain laws that governs our life. It's like gravity. It is there, right? And if you obey gravity, you're okay. But if you decide to jump through the window, then gravity will take over. Even if you're not aware of these laws, they do take effect. And so we need to know what are the laws. And so I recommend that you get the medical Minister of Healing. Please get that book. Minister of Healing is a wonderful book, a simple book, and it will change your life. I think Tyson, the boxer Tyson, I think he read that book and it changed his life. Research that for yourself. So while they are not responsible, so we might blame our parents. Oh, it's because of my father, because of my mother, right? No. You have to stand on your own feet. If you continue the habits, if you continue with the habits that your parents had, you will possibly have the same diseases that they might have died from. But you have to make sure, no, you have to change to a healthier habit, right? That means going to bed and removing this thing. This is the most addictive substance known to man. This device, this thing here that I have in my hand. And so you might have to leave it in the car and then come in the home. Leave it outside in the car, right? And turn it off, right? No, let's continue. It says, it is nevertheless their duty, your duty, to ascertain what are and what are not violation of the laws of health. They should avoid the wrong habits of their parents and by correct living, place themselves in a better condition. So basically, we need to look at the cause of stroke. We need to look at the cause. What is a stroke? A stroke occurs when blood flow to the brain is disrupted, right? What causes this interruption? There are two reasons. One, ischemic stroke, which can be caused from a blood clot, right? Fatty deposit, a plaque, and irregular heartbeat. I think they said that my brother died from an irregular heartbeat. It's still doing some more investigation on that. What's the other? Hemorrhagic stroke, which is high blood pressure. It's caused from high blood pressure. Aneurysm, which is a burst in the artery in the brain, and overuse of blood thinner. Overuse of blood thinner. I'm not going to repeat that. Okay, all right. So high blood pressure, which weakens the blood vessel. They say high blood pressure is the second cause of death worldwide. Why is that? Because high blood pressure, that continual pressure on the arteries, on the heart, on the kidney, on the liver, on the pancreas, on the brain, that causes other diseases. That high blood pressure, constant pressure. We are not designed to sustain that pressure for a long period of time, right? When you look at the three experience that I shared with you, they were all taking their medication, but they end up dying still. That means medication don't stop you from dying. It might delay your death, right? That means you need to make some lifestyle changes and then work with your holistic doctor for him to reduce the amount of the medication that you're taking. And so you need to make, if you want to live, you need to make that change, right? You need to make that change. So what body system are affected by stroke? You know, when you have one stroke, as Sister Angela was sharing, when you have one stroke, the effect of the stroke is still going on, right? The effect of the stroke is still going on, right? So what body system are affected by stroke? We have the nervous system, which encapsulates the brain. Since the brain is the control center of a stroke can cause weakness, numbness, loss of coordination, and difficulty with speech or memory. We also have a circulatory system that is affected, right? Stroke is directly linked to blood flow issues, often caused by blockage or blocked or ruptured blood vessel. What else? Muscular system, muscular weakness or paralysis, usually on one side of the body, is common after a stroke. What else? Respiratory system. Some stroke can affect breathing control, leading to complications like sleep apnea or difficulty swallowing. Digestive system. Swallowing, so digestive system, swallowing difficulties can make eating and drinking challenging. So stroke causes other effects throughout the body, right? Because stroke might affect that part of the brain that control the heart, that part of the brain that control the liver, that part of the brain that control how you move, the skeletal system, right? Because remember, the brain is what controls the entire body. And if the brain is damaged, depending on where, the mind is so wonderfully made that my neighbor downstairs, half of his brain is gone. They remove his brain family, right? But the other part of the brain is able to communicate and basically took over whatever was going on in that part of the brain that is no longer there. That is how the brain functions. It is beautiful. The Lord says we are beautifully and wonderfully made. Urinary system, right? Loss of bladder control or difficulty urinating can occur, especially in severe cases. What are the controls? So we just look at the different systems that when you have a stroke, what happens? When you have stroke, what happens to the different system of your body? What are the costs to the family? The cost to your family, the financial burden of stroke on Jamaican family is significant. On average, post-stroke care costs, including speech therapy, medication, and rehabilitation, can amount to $1.4 million per person over just 6 months. Just 6 months, family. I don't know if you guys have that amount of money. That's almost $1.5 million per 6 months, half a year. You guys are rich, right? The total annual cost to family across the entire Jamaica is estimated at $46 billion. You guys are rich. You're able to spend that money on sick. Why not do preventative health? I'm sure that education is less, much, much less, right? 46 billion Jamaican dollar it will cost Jamaican family. No, that's Jamaican, sister. So, okay, 46, 150. So if you want to know the cost, it's 146 billion divided by, or 46 divided by 150. 46 divided by 150, I believe it is. Can I say Google it? Sister Angela, work that out for me, please. Beyond direct medical expenses, stroke survivors often face loss of income. And this what I'm saying is not just in Jamaica alone. Anywhere you are, you're going to go through the same symptom, not symptom, but the same routine or the same condition. You're going to go through the same condition no matter where you are. Stroke is not a respecter of person. It doesn't care if you're black, pink, purple, orange, short, tall, thin. It doesn't care, right? That's 10,322,000 US a year. It says beyond direct medical expenses, stroke survivors often face the loss of income, as only 40% of stroke patients recover enough to return to work. This can lead to financial strain on caregivers and families, especially in cases where long-term care is required. My neighbor downstairs, she's stressed, right? Because she has to be the caregiver. She don't have to step up to bring the funds in. She has to take the part or be the man of the home, because her husband cannot do it anymore because of the stroke, right? And so it's a burden not just on the wife. This is when you know that for death do us part. That's what it says, right? And so this is where we know if it's love, right? If the person really loves that person, right? And so her husband becomes a baby and she has to do everything for her husband. And if you don't have a family member that can step up to take care of you, eventually you will die. Eventually you die. All right. So we look at the costs. What are ways to reduce the stroke-related cost to family? And this is not just anywhere you are. You have societies or organizations that will support you. You have in Jamaica, you have Jamaica Stroke Alliance USA. JSA, Jamaica Stroke Alliance. And I'm sure you have that in the United, or wherever you are, right? Because as I mentioned, stroke does not care who it affects, right? Stroke doesn't care who it affects everyone, right? Milka Clark Stroke Brain Trauma Foundation. I don't have I was looking for the web page, but I don't see it coming up. So I think the web page is shut down. But the others, I can share it with Sister Angela, and she can share it with you. We also stroke support groups. That is important, right? Because when people are together and they're going in the same direction, it is easier for each individual in that group. And so stroke support groups to support each other, right? The care person. Yes. All right. So this doesn't just tied into Jamaica, but anywhere you are. The reason why I'm touching Jamaica is because that's where I'm coming from. So I'm going to bring it, expand it to the world, right? All right. So we're going to remove Jamaica and say, why is stroke the leading cause of death? Or It might not be where you are, but I'm sure every individual that is on this presentation or in this platform or in YouTube, you know somebody who had a stroke. There's a family member, a neighbor, a co-worker, even your enemy, right? Right? And so let's just look at the leading cause. It's all over. High prevalence of risk factors. In the case of Jamaica, it's delayed treatment and lack of specialized stroke care contribute to high mortality rate. Limit access to healthcare. Lifestyle choices, poor diet. That is across the board. Poor diet. Physical inactivity, right? Physical inactivity. Mercy. Our sister Angela says, I met a young woman in Jamaica who had her first stroke at 11 years old. Can you imagine that? 11 years old. So, poor diet, lifestyle, physical inactivity, and smoking. I was in a country recently, and I think everybody smoke. And I'm saying, I thought people stop smoking. More people are smoking. And with the vapor, that thing, even children at school, students are now smoking the vapor. Everybody becomes a smoker. I don't know why. Is it to get away from reality of life? Economical burden. Stroke treatment and rehabilitation are costly, making it difficult for many to access proper care. As I share with my neighbor, the cost just to do that operation, removing that half of his brain, I don't want to know the cost to do so, right? Stroke is expensive, very expensive. Prevention is inexpensive. Awareness and prevention challenge. Many people do not recognize stroke symptoms early enough to seek immediate medical attention, right? In Jamaica, 82 stroke-related deaths per 100,000 people make it a major public health concern. And not just in Jamaica, but anywhere you are, because when someone that you love got a stroke, it changed how you do things, right? It changed how you do things. Yes, Monique. Can it be prevented? That's the big question that I asked initially. Can stroke be prevented? There is a study that was done. They call it the Adventist Health Study, AHS. And if you're in the medical field, you will hear about this study, right? The Adventist Health Study indicate that Adventists who often follow a healthy lifestyle, including a vegetarianism and avoiding smoking, experience lower stroke mortality rate. The study consistently underscored the importance of managing risk factors like high blood pressure, cholesterol for stroke prevention. So if we follow the Adventists, we need to find the Adventists who follow their health message. So it's not all Adventists follow the health message that they have, but we need to find those who follow the message and follow them, right? We have a greater chance of reducing the risk of having a stroke. So we can look at not just in Jamaica, a stroke prevention protocol. Number one, check your pressure. Everyone needs to check their blood pressure, right? For normal blood pressure, your blood pressure, your blood pressure rises during the day. Your blood pressure rises when you eat, when you exercise and all that. And so check your blood pressure. And it's supposed to be normal at some point in time, right? And so if it's constantly high, that means that blood pressure is eating away off the arteries, and the arteries might be in the brain, the arteries might be in the heart, that artery might be in the liver, it might be in anywhere it is. And so we are not designed for our blood pressure to be constantly high. Look at the 3 experiences that I share with you. 2 of them had high blood pressure. And that didn't stop. The medication didn't stop. It might have delayed it, but eventually they died. And so the cause is not the blood pressure, but the lifestyle. Majority of our chronic diseases are the choices that we make. It's not because of high stroke, why we have stroke. It's because of us. Until we face that reality, that we have to make the right health choices, right? So check your blood pressure. High blood pressure is a top risk factor, right? It's underlined. Check it often. You can buy. They have if you can afford the watch, they have the watch that checks basically everything in your system. That's where the technology is now, right? So you don't have to wrap your hand to get your blood pressure. Your watch tells you your heartbeat. It tells you all kind of stuff, the technology. Your blood pressure it's supposed to be under 120. 120 over 70 over 80, 120 over 80, 120 over 70. If you look at the longest living people, their blood pressure is not high. In their 90s and 100, their blood pressure is not high, right? Eat wisely, eat local. That anyone can do that. Eat wisely and try to eat local. Sometimes where we are, we can't get local. We might need to plant in our homes, right? Plant something in your home. Plant something in your home. Let me repeat. Plant something in your home. Same place in Canada there. A friend of mine she planted soursop. She had soursop growing in Canada. Right here in the Bronx, they had lemon and they have avocado growing, right? And so don't limit yourself. Plant something. Move your body. We don't move enough. There's no medication for movement, right? No medication can replace movement. None whatsoever. And so we need to start move. Stop sitting, right? Put all the chairs outside and walk up and down, walk up and down. There was this lady in California, and they had a competition on who can walk the most. She was in her 80s, I believe. And she was doing a lot of steps during the week. And all she did was walk to the bathroom, turn around, walk to the kitchen, turn around, walk to the bedroom, turn around, walk to the living room. That's all she did. And she was doing more steps than the individuals that were outside in the fresh air. That's the only thing that she could do. So do the best that you can. Use what you have in your hands. Cut the smoking. Not just the first hand smoking, but the second hand and third hand. Do you know that those affect you also, the second and the third hand smoke? Right? So you need to get rid of that. Drink water. Let me repeat. or sip your water. I don't have any water here, but sip your water, right? It is important. Sip your water. The more water in your blood is, the thinner your blood is, and the thinner your blood is the lower your blood pressure. Because there's more water, there's less pressure on your blood, less pressure on the heart of the wall of the arteries. When you drink water, don't soda, coffee, and all of these colored drink. Sip your water. It's important. Manage diabetes and cholesterol. As we know, those are risk factors. Manage. There was a challenge put forward. We call it 10 days health challenge. And what we did was we tested individuals before they went into the challenge and after they come out of the challenge. And basically they just eat plant-based. That's it. They don't even exercise. Just eat plant-based for 10 days. And you will see a difference in your levels for 10 days, right? And so diabetes, high cholesterol, and all these, it's a lifestyle. You just make that lifestyle, work with a holistic doctor and make the necessary change. Watch your weight. You know that in a certain country, I won't call the name, when your belly is big, they say that your wife is taking care of you, right? No, it's unhealthy. The bigger the belly is, your risk factor goes up. Carrying extra weight, especially around the belly, increase your risk for stroke. Small changes like smaller portions and fewer sugary drink can help, right? So the big belly, you have high blood pressure, you're diabetic and have all of these disease. And I say, oh, your wife is taking care of you. No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Get enough rest. Get enough rest. It starts with, are you seeing this S? It start. Let me see if I can put myself in there. Just a minute. Spotlight. All right. S for sleep, right? S for sleep. Get rid of this. You see, get rid of this and go to sleep. We're killing ourselves, right? Stroke. We tend to get a stroke early in the morning. Early in the morning, that's the time that we usually have a stroke. What else? Know the warning sign. It's be fast. They call it balance, right? Your eyes, looking at your eyes, face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, and time to call 119 or 911, depending on where you are, right? That's be fast. BEFAST. B for balance, E for eye, F for face drooping, A for arm weakness, S for speech difficulty, and T for time to call the ambulance or the police, right? Use community resources, your hospital, your community center, your church, a faith-based organization should be a source of support for you. And so if you're in a church, why not be the support for, if it's high blood pressure support group or whatever the disease is, right? What disease increase your stroke risk? These are the diseases that increase your stroke risk. Number 1, high blood pressure. 2, if you're diabetic. 3, heart disease increase your risk. 4, carotid artery disease. And sickle cell disease, because the cells are not shaped correctly. Let's put it that way. the blood cells are not shaped correctly, so they're not going to flow smoothly, and they might clung together and cause a blockage, which can lead to a stroke, not just a stroke, a heart attack or other issues. And so that can be treated and even reversed if the correct measures are taken, right? My sister-in-law has sickle cell, and for years she had blisters. For 17 years, she had blisters on both sides of her ankles, and we were able to get her to a holistic doctor, and she did a protocol with that holistic doctor. And when my sister-in-law was leaving, those ankles were looking fabulous, right? They were almost getting back to the skin, the original skin, because we gave the body what it needed. So we've been looking at stroke. So we were looking at stroke. We just look at stroke. We're going to look at, is the fruit a prevention? Is the fruit a prevention? And this is no ordinary fruit. This is no ordinary fruit. And this fruit can be found in Galatians 5:22-23. It says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. So I'm going to look at these characters or these actions, and I'm going to use research to show that being loving can prevent stroke. Research shows that it can prevent stroke. By being joyful can prevent stroke. Let's look into it, right? So it's not a physical fruit. So when we talk about love, we're talking about unselfish, sacrificial care for others. That means they come before you. That means a selfless love, not a love where you expect something in return. That's not the love I'm talking about. I'm talking a love that you have your last $100 and you take that last $100 and give them 50 out of that $100, or give them the $100. Or if you're eating a slice of bread, and that means that is the last bread that you have, and you gave them that bread. That's the type of love that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the selfish love. I'm talking about the selfless love. Can selfless love lower your stroke risk, right? The next one I'm going to look at is joy. And I'm talking about a deep, lasting happiness rooted in faith. Then I'm going to touch on peace, the inner calm and harmony with God and others. Then I'm going to look at long-suffering, patient, and endurance through trials. And then I'm going to look at gentleness, kindness, and compassion towards others. Can they prevent or even possibly reverse the stroke, reverse a stroke? Let's hang in there and share that link, right? Goodness. What about goodness? Well, there's faith there. Let's look at faith. Trust and confidence in God. That's what faith is. Then we look at meekness, humility, and self-control in interaction. Self-control. That is important. Comprehensive self-control. If we would have more self-control, most of these diseases that we have, we wouldn't have them. If we have self-control, oh mercy. Then we have temperance. So let's dive into these. So let's look at, can practicing these fruit prevent stroke? That's the question, right? There's a law or principle from the Bible. It says, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. And so if we think about stress and continue thinking about stress and make it a part of our life, guess what's going to happen? We're going to create cortisol, and cortisol is going to carry down our immune system and make us sick. It affects the brain. And so we start thinking about something and it makes us sick, right? That's the power of thoughts, your thought. That's why it's important to be careful what you think, right? The moment it comes in, and if it's not kosher, cut it out, right? And so, for as he thinketh in his heart is a powerful principle. How do your thoughts affect your health? As we look at the law, so what a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Your thoughts affect your whole body, including your health. Did you know that? What you think affects your entire body. Your thoughts have a direct impact on your physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental health. Research shows that a negative thinking can increase stress hormones like cortisol, leading to a high blood pressure. Let me repeat. Research shows that negative thinking can increase stress hormones like cortisol, leading to high blood pressure, weakened immune system, and even heart disease. So all you think is giving yourself disease. Mercy. On the other hand, positive thoughts can boost dopamine and serotonin, improve mood, resilience, and overall well-being. I was doing a stress test yesterday, and I was telling the person that not because stress comes in, not because stress is right there, you have to take it into the body, right? I told her, think about something just to redirect the mind. Think about something that happened to you 10, 20 years ago. A joke, and just start laughing, right? That laugh, even though it happened 10 years ago, you still have the health benefit if you laugh again today on the same thing that happened 10 years ago. You understand what I'm saying? And so think about something that happened, perhaps it's very funny, and just start laugh, right? That stops the effect of stress. Because you have the last say, you deal with stress. Your thoughts, family, affects everything. How do your thoughts affect your health? As we look at the law, so what a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Stress and anxiety. Chronic negative thoughts can trigger stress response, leading to fatigue, digestive issues, and sleep disturbances. You hear that? What else? Heart health. Optimistic thinking is linked to lower blood pressure and reduced risk of heart disease. When we talk about optimistic, it's an adjective describing someone who is hopeful and confident about the future or the success of something. So that means the cup is half full, right? Not half empty. What else? Immune system. Positive emotions strengthen the immune system while chronic stress weaken it. Brain chemistry. Your thoughts release neurotransmitters that shape mood, focus, and energy level. I was doing a consult yesterday, and the teacher, she's been a teacher for 30 years. She's 47, 30 years. And she said she's stressed. And I told her that she needs to change how she look at teaching. She loved teaching, but she needs to change how she reacts to stress. She don't want to change the job. She loved the job, right? And so she doesn't want to change the job. Longevity. Do you know or you think? Studies suggest that optimistic people live longer due to better health habits and lower what? And lower, come on, and lower stress, right? Hope. If you have no hope for the future, guess what? You're going to get sick. How does the fruit prevent stroke? Let's look at that. How does the fruit prevent stroke? Let's look at love. How does love prevent stroke? No, when you look at love, it is given and not taken. The action is more given and not taken. And so we're changing how we think. We're changing our action. All right. We're changing how we think about healing. So healing is not sometimes, it's not, is what we get, but sometimes what we give. And we get the effect from what we give. And so love and strong social connection significantly reduce stroke risk by fostering overall health. That's the research that was shown. Stress reduction, right? It's a stress reduction. Positive relationship help lower stress. Did you know that? Which in turn can lead to lower blood pressure and reduce inflammation, both major risk factor for stroke. And so we know that high blood pressure is a risk factor for stroke. What else? Healthier habits. Support from loved ones often encourage healthier lifestyle choices such as regular exercise, a balanced diet, quitting smoking, and consistently taking prescribed medication, right? Just by someone supporting you, right? Showing you love, right? It improves mental health. Did you know that? Being in love or being in loving and supportive relationship can boost mental well-being, reducing anxiety and depression, which are also linked to an increased stroke risk. What about joy? Joy, like other positive emotions, significantly lower your risk for improving your overall health. It's a stress buster. Because we know that stress leads to high blood pressure leads to what? Stroke. And so if we can get rid of this stress, joy helps your body manage stress. Less stress means lower blood pressure and less inflammation, both of which are good for your heart and blood vessel. Joy. Despite what is going on, there's a verse that says, happy is that man that know that God is their Lord. Right? Healthy habits encourage her. That's being joyful. When you are feeling joyful, you are more likely to make healthier choice, like exercising, eating well, and sticking to your medical treatment. These habits are key to prevent stroke. Mental well-being. Joy contributes to better mental health, reducing anxiety and depression, which are known to increase stroke. What about peace? A lot of people had stroke, die of stroke, have heart attack because they did not have peace. Similar to love and joy, peace profoundly contribute to your overall health in ways that significantly reduce your risk of stroke. Promote drastically reduce stress. A peaceful state minimize, don't fight that boss, don't fight the boss, don't curse the boss, oh, be peaceful, family. A peaceful state minimize the body's stress response, which in turn helps to lower blood pressure and reduce inflammation. Guess what? Both significant risk factor for stroke. What else? It promotes healthy habits. When you are at peace, you are more inclined to prioritize self-care, leading to better lifestyle choices like regular exercise, right? Nutritious diet, adequate sleep, and consistent adherence to any necessary treatment. Let's put it that way. Boosting mental health. Peace fosters emotional stability, reducing anxiety and depression, which links to increased stroke risk. Did you know that just by reflecting the spirit, the fruit of the spirit can lower your blood pressure, can lower your anxiety, can lower your stroke? Did you think about it that way? I'm sure no one thought about it that way. That you didn't have to go to the store to buy any medication or drink any water. All you have to do is be active in the action of doing peace and all the other fruit of the spirit. Right? Peace fosters emotional stability. What about long suffering? The concept of long suffering, which implies patience, endurance, and forbearance in the face of difficulty, provocation, or hardship, contribute to stroke prevention through less direct and more subtle than concepts like peace or joy. It primarily works by fostering emotional regulation and stress management over time. That's long suffering. Avoiding explosive reaction. You know, recently I did not really put my hand over my mouth. Sometimes you have to put your hand over your mouth and run away. Do you know that? Yes, man. Because you might say something that you might not live through. And so sometimes you have to say, I cannot talk now. Give me a few days or a few months and I will get back to you when everything is normalized, right? Long suffering means not immediately reacting with intense anger, frustration, or mercy, or resentment to provocation or prolonged difficult situation. This prevents frequently spiking stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline that occurs with explosive emotional outbursts. We have to be right. Right? Isn't that? I have to be right. And then you sleep at the end of the bed. Give me a second. I'm just reducing the stress just by the laughing. Do you know when you laugh or smile, your stress is reduced? Did you know that? Yes, man. And so, chronic elevation of stress of these hormones can lead. So let me start out. This prevent frequent spike in stress hormone like cortisol and adrenaline that occurs with explosive emotional outbursts. Chronic elevation of these hormones can lead to high blood pressure, inflammation, and damage to blood vessel over time, all of which increase stroke risk. Sustaining harm. By enduring patiently and individually practicing long suffering may maintain a more consistent state of inner calm, even amidst external turmoil. This sustaining lower level of physiological arousal is beneficial for cardiovascular health. As I was reading that, I remember Christ was in the middle of the ship and the storm was going on and over and he was at sleep snoring. Can you imagine that? Wow. Despite of the storm. I think there's a song like that, right? Avoid explosive reaction. I think I just read that. Let's move on. Preventing bitterness and hostility. When your work environment is hostile, it is stressful on your body. It is stressful on your mind. You don't want to go to work, right? Unresolved anger and chronic hostility are known risk factors for heart disease and stroke. Long suffering when practiced healthily involves processing and enduring difficulties without letting them fester in chronic bitterness, resentment, or hostility. Building mental fort. So we have been looking at the fruit of the Spirit. We are looking at all these fruit prevent and can even reverse stroke. Right? You didn't thought of that. Long-suffering, promotion of thoughtful coping rather than impulsive turning to unhealthy coping mechanism like overeating, smoking, or excessive alcohol consumption. When faced with difficult situation, an individual practicing long-suffering might be more inclined to seek constructive, patient, and less immediate gratifying solutions that are healthier the long run. That means you will not go to the bar, right? You will be in the state of long suffering. Lower physiological wear and tear over a lifetime, continue reacting to every frustration with intense emotional and physiological responses, put significant wear and tear on the cardiovascular system. Do you understand that? You know, there was a gentleman that they just came across and cut me off, right? And all I did was say, Lord, make sure that gentleman get to his destination safely. I can do that, or I can take my blood pressure up and perhaps drive him down and then he shoots me, right? What is more healthier? Me praying for him, or I curse him out? Praying for him is healthier. Healthy for both of us, right? We survive, right? And so, we did long suffering. Let's look at gentleness. Gentleness, understood as a quality of kindness, tenderness, mildness, and consideration in demeanor and interaction, can contribute to a stroke prevention in several indirect but significant ways, primarily by fostering a less stressful internal, external environment, right? So being gentle, it lowers interpersonal friction. That's what it does. A gentle approach tends to de-escalate potential conflicts and disagreement, right? So gentleness, the fruit of the Spirit, will help to lower your blood pressure, right? And so these are some of the faith. I like faith, right? These are some of the fruit of the Spirit that if you practice them, if you reflect them, you will see the difference in your health. Your blood pressure will be lower just by practicing these. And the last one, temperance. If we are temperancing all things that are good, we will see the difference in our mental, physical, emotional, and the other one. All right. So I'm coming to the end. I'm going to open for question and answering. Right. In concluding, addressing stroke prevention requires more than just medical strategies. It calls for a holistic approach that embraces both physical and spiritual well-being. The fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance, offers a powerful framework for healthier living. Each virtue aligns with behavior that reduce stress, strengthen the heart, promote healthy relationships, and encourage a balanced lifestyle, all key that prevent stroke. Takeaway: when we cultivate the fruit of the Spirit in our daily lives, we not only strengthen our soul, we also protect our hearts and our mind. Stroke prevention begins in the heart, in every sense of the word. And so thank you. Question? Any question? I'm here to answer.
Thank you so much, my brother. Appreciate the presentation and especially how you've tied in the topic with the fruit of the Spirit. That was divinely inspired. And I'm sure most times when we're looking at the prevention and the cure, we do not connect those two together. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Anybody with any questions, it's your turn now. You can raise your hands and we'll allow you to unmute yourselves and go ahead with your questions. And just a reminder, we're having our Bible study this evening. We always have our Bible study at 8 o'clock. So once we're finished, we're going to ask you, do not leave, stay on and join our Bible study. And as asked in the chat, if you're here and you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead. The link is in the chat. Just click on the link. It takes you straight to this particular video. Hit the subscribe button and you'll be getting the notifications of all our upcoming programs that we're having. So please go ahead, do so now. We'd like to be able to spread the health message to the world. Any questions? I'm not seeing any hands. Or was it that clear enough? Yes, it was clear, but it's just alarming to see the amount of stroke cases and especially younger people that are having stroke. When I met that young lady about 2-3 months ago, she's maybe just about 40 or maybe she's not even 45 yet. She's had 5 strokes, she said. She's disfigured, of course, on one side of her body, hand, one of her feet. She speaks almost clearly now, but she's able to help herself. She still tries to do some work. But what amazed me was when she said that she had the first stroke at 11. Can you imagine an 11-year-old child having a stroke? That must have been extremely difficult, not just for the child, but for the parents as well. And so as we've seen this evening, stroke can be prevented. In fact, every lifestyle disease can be prevented. And we're called to, an ounce of prevention is better than a whole pound of cure. So let us focus on prevention than on trying to cure when we get ill. It's your turn. Any questions? Brother Shard, is everybody hearing? Are you hearing me? Just to be sure that people are hearing me.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So any questions from anyone regarding this evening's presentation? We want to stick to the topic. So question or comment or even an experience of someone who you know had a stroke and what the experience was like. Go ahead.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
The presenter spoke of prevention, but I don't know, maybe. But what about when you get it? What if you are in the presence of the person who is having the stroke? Why I'm asking this question is because locally, I know that persons, they speak of putting a nutmeg in the person's mouth if the medical assistance is not there immediately. So is there anything you could do immediately upon getting the stroke or preventing it from becoming tragic or worse or anything like that? Is there something that can be done?
Brother Linton, go ahead.
Yes, so thank you for that question, Sister Phyllis. As I mentioned, my first experience, I grabbed my cayenne pepper right?
Yes.
Because I think that's what I had at the time.
Yes.
And I mixed it in water and I gave it to her. Nutmeg, what nutmeg does, it shuts down the nervous system, the central nervous system. It neutralizes the central nervous system. So when you're having a stroke, your nervous system is hype, right? It's firing. And so you need to stop that. And they say that the nutmeg, you put it in the person's mouth, and if they can bite into it, if you might have to chew it and give it to them so that it helps to neutralize. And even after the stroke, a few weeks or a few days after, you continue to give them the nutmeg if you can, because sometimes you're in the hospital and you're not able to do so because they are doing what they're doing there. And so you do what you can do until the hospital, because you can't get it worse than what is going on there. And so nutmeg is good to and look at cayenne pepper, because cayenne, what it does, it thins the blood. That's what it does. It thins the blood. And so those are two things that you keep in your bag for emergency kit. All right, over back to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Thank you. And for that reason is why we do not recommend nutmeg for food. So people tend to be having this on a daily. Oh, yes, people tend to be having nutmeg. Let me see who needs to mute themselves, because I could hear some music a while ago. Yes, so people tend to be. Oh, I'm not sure what's going on, but
Justice now. Got any ideas?
Only one. Get my kids.
I thought you'd say that.
right. Yes, I was just trying to see what was going on there. So yes, that's why we do not recommend that people be using nutmeg as food. Certain things, the body can utilize them as medicine. However, when we continuously use these things, for example, nutmeg in the porridge or in your punches or your juices, if and when the body has a crisis, for example, a stroke, and you're trying to use it then, by then the body would have become so used to this thing to the point where it becomes ineffective. So avoid using those stuff as food, and you'll keep them as medicine. But it's good, as well as a cayenne pepper definitely will help. So always have your cayenne pepper with you. In fact, have a little kit with your little first aid kit, and make sure in that kit you have some cayenne pepper when you're traveling, because you may need to help somebody. Any more questions? Go ahead. Any more questions? All right, just allowing a few more seconds. Any more questions? All right. Since we have no more questions, I guess the presentation was quite clear, and yet, yes, it was. And for those who are familiar with the topic, maybe it was just a refresher. But for those who are new to the topic, I'm sure that you'd have learned a lot. Okay, Sister Josette, do you have a question? I see you've unmuted yourself. Go ahead.
I have a question. Thank you so much, presenter, for this wonderful topic. You were saying something about how you know the warnings, the warning signs. You talked about balance, eye face, drooping, speech difficulty, time to call the local police. But there was something else that you said, and I didn't really pick up on it on time, concerning the warning signs. I think you call it the BEFD something S.
Pass. Brother Linton? Okay, which one did you miss? Did you miss Ouses?
I missed the one after drooping.
After drooping?
Yes.
So that would be the facial drooping.
He said
Then,
face drooping and something else. I missed that one.
yeah, the A, let me see which one the A is
He
for.
also said speech difficulty and then
Yes,
time
that
to
would be
call the local police, but I
time.
missed the one that was right in between those two.
Okay, let me just try and remember. Brother Linton, are you there? Okay, he's muted. I'm just trying to remember them. B4, B4. Okay, I'll try and just
Yeah, if you get
refresh
it
myself.
afterward, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you,
All right.
Sister Angela.
No problem. You are welcome. All right, we're going to close off with Let's Talk Health, and we will turn over to Brother Shard for our Bible study program. We thank those who joined us, and we thank our presenter. I think he's still on, but maybe he's muted. I don't think he got kicked. Okay, he's back.
Yes, so I was just looking at it's fast. So we have face, arm, speech, time. And I think BE in front of be fast. Right?
So arms, right. So watching for the arms,
So
limping, falling.
balance. So you have balance, the eyes, the face, arm, speech, and time. So balance if the person is leaning to one side. The eyes, if one of the eyes are closed. The face, if they're drooping. Arm, if they're leaning to one side. You have the speech. When they talk, it's not clear. And then the time for you to call the ambulance or the police.
Thank you so much, Brother Linton. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome, my sister.
Thank you, Sister Josette. Andrea, your turn. Go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my hand. I just wanted to say that I had just learned this morning on another platform, Character Building for Eternity, where they said in their health nugget that one of the signs of a stroke is has not really been known by people who are not in the medical field, but the tongue, if the tongue, when somebody sticks out their tongue is not straight, that is a sign that a stroke that's one of the signs that you can look for as well, because it's kind of droopy on one side and it's kind of curved and not straight when they stick it out. So I just wanted to add that to what has been said. Thank you.
Yes, that's true. Thank you, sis. All right, thank you all. And please do not leave. We have our Bible study. Our presenter for tonight's Bible study is here. Brother Shard, over to you. I'm going to stop the YouTube now on this presentation as well as the recording. And then we're going to start again. Brother Shard is the host for this evening's Bible study, so he will pick up from where I'm leaving off. Thank you, everyone. And please remember, we do this at least twice per month on a Sunday evening at 5:30 Jamaican time, 6:30 Canadian US time, as well as we have the other program, My Story, for his Glory or Friday evenings program as well, and of course our Bible study. And we're looking at a walk through the sanctuary. Have a wonderful evening. I'll be here, but if you have to go, then you have a wonderful evening. But we'd rather if you stay on with us. So thank you so much again. And I'll just do a quick prayer. Father, we thank you for the opportunity of sharing about this important topic where so many persons are or have experienced a stroke. I pray that you will help us to find methods to prevent this disease, and may we look at our diet or lifestyle or stress level, among other aspects that can prevent a stroke. Thank you for Brother Linton and for the presentation. For Christ's sake,